The news day continues here in One News Now. I'm Diego Castro, bringing you the biggest headlines from around the world. A 28-year-old woman fatally shot 3 children and 3 adult staffers at a school in Tennessee. The incident unfolded not long after classes had begun at the Covenant School on Monday. 2 officers from a 5-member team shot the assailant in a lobby area, resulting in her death. The suspect was identified as Audrey Elizabeth Hale, who had previously been a student at the school. U.S. President Joe Biden called on Congress to pass the proposed ban on assault weapons.
It's just, it's sick. You know, we're still gathering the facts of what happened and why. And we do know that as of now, there are a number of people who did not make it, including children. We have to do more to stop gun violence. It's ripping our communities apart, ripping the soul of this nation, ripping at the very soul of the nation.
Airports as well as bus and train stations in Germany were at a standstill after one of the largest walkouts in the country in decades. Millions of commuters and travelers' trips were disrupted as trade and transport unions mounted a 24-hour strike. The strike is the latest of months of industrial action amid soaring food and energy prices denting living standards. The unions are negotiating on behalf of nearly 3 million employees in the public and transport sector. Germany's interior minister, who is leading negotiations, says she is confident that the government will come up with a good deal with workers.
Viele, auch im öffentlichen Dienst, leiden dieser Tage unter den hohen Energiepreisen, unter der hohen Inflation. Deswegen ist es auch unsere Aufgabe, gemeinsam einen guten Abschluss zu finden. Unsere Bediensteten der öffentlichen Verwaltung leisten einen sehr guten Job und deswegen bin ich sehr zuversichtlich, dass wir diese Woche auch... Ja, wir haben ein gutes Angebot vorgelegt. Ich erwarte jetzt erstmal, dass die Gewerkschaften auch von ihren hohen Forderungen vielleicht uns auch ein Stück entgegenkommen.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu puts off a decision on bitterly contested plans for a judicial overhaul following a day of national turmoil when workers joined a general strike against the proposal. Demonstrations sparked over the government's plans to enable parliament to override Supreme Court decisions and hold control over judicial appointments. This triggered some of the biggest protests in Israeli history, with the opponents calling the move a threat to democracy. However, it's still unclear how far the bill's delay to next month's new parliamentary session would satisfy either side or cool the crisis, which is feared to fracture Netanyahu's coalition or escalate into violence. In a TV interview, Netanyahu called the suspension a, quote, chance to avoid a civil war. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now World. I'm Diego Castro. Scottish nationalist picked Humza Yousaf, the government's first and only Muslim cabinet minister, to be the country's next leader on Monday. This follows a bitterly fought contest that exposed deep divisions in his party over policy and the stalled independence campaign. The 37-year-old will succeed Nicola Sturgeon as leader of the governing Scottish National Party and will take over as head of the semi-autonomous government, subject to a vote in the Scottish Parliament. Setting out his goals, Yousaf said he would concentrate on tackling the cost of living crisis and make a renewed push for independence. Yousaf will be sworn in as Scotland's leader on Wednesday if he wins a vote in the country's parliament the day before.
And for those of us in this room and watching who do believe in independence, we will only win by making that case on the doorsteps. And my solemn promise and commitment to you is that I will kickstart our grassroots, our civic-led movement, and ensure our drive for independence is in fifth gear. The people of Scotland need independence now more than ever before, and we will be the generation that delivers independence for Scotland.
A Ukrainian drone was allegedly downed over a residential area in the Russian town of Kiryevsk. Residents expressed shock and anger after some of them were wounded and their houses damaged. A Reuters camera crew saw wrecked houses with smashed tiled or corrugated iron roofs and mangled windows. Russia's defense ministry said it had electronically disabled a Ukrainian drone, which veered off course.
We were used to seeing these things only online, but now we've felt it ourselves. Now we know how it is. At that moment, my wife and I were at home. The whole house shook.
We heard it on the news that they shut it down, but I think it's absolutely outrageous to shoot it down over a residential area. There's a field just 500 meters from here. They could have shut it down over there.
Art Basel Hong Kong is once again testing the city's status as Asia's art hub, as the fair welcomes wealthy Chinese investors in its largest edition since before the pandemic. Let's take a peek in this Bloomberg Quick Take.
Hong Kong is completely back, and not just back, it is better than ever.
Art Basel Hong Kong staged its largest fair since the pandemic with 177 galleries from around the world.
During COVID, what was most frustrating was unable to see everyone in person. Art Basel was really a shadow of its former self. This year, we are all feeling so positive.
Nearly all attendees were mask-free, shaking hands, and enjoying champagne stations after nearly 3 years of COVID hibernation. The industry is betting big on the return of wealthy mainland collectors, the main target audience of the fair, as China reopened borders.
For this year, we're extremely excited. Everyone is asking for VIP passes, and they are asking for PDF and acquiring works.
Throughout the lockdown, I actually think it was a really great time for artists to reset and rethink what Hong Kong means to them. With the reopening of Hong Kong, that's very exciting to be able to provide them a platform and connect them again with the international community.
The whole razzmatazz about the Art Basel Hong Kong has encouraged some really serious collectors to actually get on a plane. And a lot of people wanted to come to Hong Kong.
China is incredibly important to us. All the collectors from mainland China that we expect to be here are here. And in addition, we have the curators, we have the critics, we have the artists.
Clearly, there's been some roller coaster events going on that have made it difficult, and obviously access to the Chinese market has been pretty well impossible. And now it's freeing up, it's much easier to do business again.
Chinese collectors account for the world's highest share of spending at the $1 million level, and their median expenditure is the highest globally at $475,000 for a piece of work, according to a joint report by Art Basel and UBS.
Greater China now is probably the second biggest art market in the world. It covered about 20% of all transaction activity that occurred globally. It could not be more important. We are accessing that both here and across the whole region. We're in 8 different cities across the whole of Asia. We are focused at the moment on the opening of these headquarters here. This for us is a platform that allows us to really, on the doorstep of mainland China.
Philips is not the only global auction house to expand its presence in Hong Kong. Christie's is planning to open a new 50,000 square foot hub, and Sotheby's will open new spaces totaling 60,000 square feet in 2024.
I think that the investment and these huge buildings that are going up and the infrastructure and shipping, lack of tax on art makes Hong Kong the natural place to buy your art. The hub is here in Hong Kong.
Local art communities are hoping to grow a sustainable art ecosystem.
I think every great city, besides having a very successful commercial art scene and finance and all that, it's also really important to have very strong heritage and have a very vibrant arts and culture scene. So Hong Kong has really wonderful, amazing local talents. I think with more dialogue and with more perspectives that are outside of Hong Kong looking in, I think there will be a lot of new views that will be formed, and hopefully those will be positive ones.
On the first day of the fair, International Gallery Hauser & Wirth sold Mark Bradford's work for $3.5 million to a collection in Asia. And David Zwarner sold Elizabeth Peyton's painting for $2.2 million and Jordan Wolfson's sculpture for $900,000, both to major museums in Asia and Shanghai.
Hong Kong continues to be the premier art market hub for Asia, and our expectations are high.
Years of strict COVID restrictions have helped places like Singapore and Seoul take a bite of Asia's luxury and art market. But Hong Kong may be getting another chance.
And those are the top world headlines of the hour. Join us again at 9 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. Coming right up is Agenda at 8 a.m. I'm Diego Castro. We are One News. All sides, all the time.